Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCollum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of superhero television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome
to Raccoon City.
Welcome to Raccoon City, where nothing could possibly go wrong.
Take me down to the Raccoon City where the zombies are killing and everyone's
First
pretty.
thing that's ever gone wrong.
The zombies.
The zombies.
The
is
zombies
the first thing
you
that's
see.
ever gone wrong. Yeah, we're talking about the new Resident Evil film is what we're talking about. This week on the podcast, we have done all of the old ones in the back catalog. Go back and check that out if you haven't already.
We had nothing to build up to this with because we covered, I think, all 4 in a month.
We've done it all.
We've done it all.
And also there was 6.
We did 4
6.
on the regular and we did 2 on the Patreon.
Yeah.
We had a crazy 2
time.
months of Resident Evil. So if you want them all, you got to check out the Patreon and the regular. But
That's right.
We've seen everything.
We've seen it all. We've seen it all, including the new one, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. It's a new movie. Whenever we talk about a new movie or TV show, we always give a spoiler-free review. So in a moment, we're going to give you a spoiler-free review in case you're on the fence about seeing it, uncertain, want a taste of the episode before you go check it out. And then once you hear the theme song for the episode, once you hear that music kick in afterwards, that's when we're going to be in the spoiler-filled section. So now, for a quick spoiler-free review, Diana, did you like it?
No.
Okay.
This
well,
was
thanks
fun.
for listening, everybody.
No problem. No, I didn't really like it. It wasn't, like, wretchedly bad. It is poorly paced, and the action is bare. The action will happen for a quick second, and then it's over, and the action was not satisfying, and then we're moving on. The pacing is really weird. I'm very sad I didn't like it more. I like every actor in this movie. This movie is full of just middle-grade actors who you've seen in sci-fi stuff, and I think they're all great. And I didn't really like anyone in particular except Donal Logue. He saved this movie. He was absolutely wonderful. But pacing-wise, this movie felt like, you know that Lonely Island song about the DJ who never drops the beat?
I think so. I think I know this one.
The people are just like waiting for the beat to drop
Yes,
for the whole
and they're
song.
losing their minds.
Yeah, but it's that, but I'm not losing my
You're
mind.
not excited. The
But
beat
I'm
just
like,
never drops.
But I'm like, the whole movie, I'm like, okay, now we're going to get to exciting zombie stuff. And then there's like one zombie, you're like, oh. And then you're like, oh, now, but now exciting zombie. And no, not now, not yet. And it just never really gets there. So I was pretty bored. I was mostly bored, and then there's a few bright spots along the way, but overall bored. So yeah, I'm going to give it a not like. Don't really ever want to watch it again. Andrew, our Resident Evil expert, how about you?
I'm glad to hear your opinion because I do love the Resident Evil video games. I'm gonna try not to get too deep divey or inside baseball-y on this episode, but I definitely have a lot of heart and attachment. I was medium on it. I think that one of the biggest positives of this movie, I think it looks incredible. And I mean incredible. Like just the lighting, the framing, some of the shots that they get are absolutely gorgeous, empirically gorgeous. So I think it is one of the best looking horror films that I've seen in a long time. And the script moves at a glacial pace if it ever pops off. So yeah, I was also a little bit bored. There are some script problems for sure. I'm going to say mostly script problems, which is a shame because in execution, I think they execute the look and the style, and they execute a lot of things really well. And I agree with you. These are all performers who I really enjoy. They got a bunch of... It's an ensemble full of, like, you're right, I like not mid-tier performers, but people who are, like, not the biggest name on things that they've been on previously, but are all ready to pop off, and they're all incredible and charismatic and charming. And they all kind of do middle stuff because I think they put the looks first and the plot second in most of this movie.
Yeah, I will mildly disagree about this movie looking great. Like, I don't think it looks bad. I think the actors look really good. And I can't remember a single shot where I was like, wow, that shot. But
really? Okay.
No, and a lot of time I thought the lighting was too dark. I couldn't see what was happening.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna actually even disagree on that. It was like It seemed to have a very low budget. For the low budget it had, it seemed like it was filmed well, but it felt cheap actually to me most of the time.
Really? It felt very rich to me. That's interesting.
It did. It felt very Canadian.
Okay.
I could feel it in my bones. Not just because I knew that empirically. Yeah, so no, it was mostly an unenjoyable experience for me.
Yeah. Script problems, little bland for me.
Yeah, like I think all of these actors could have done a lot of fun things with a more fun script.
Yes, and I will say, as a video game fan, if you are a video game fan, it's worth seeing. There's some nice nods, there's some nice references, but if you are a big video game fan, you're not going to see it and be like, yes, they really nailed it. But there is enough there that it's like, oh, there'll be like little twinkles of joy from moment to moment. Mm-hmm. And can it be spoiled?
Not really. No. If you don't know anything about Resident Evil, I can't spoil it because there's too many characters. And if you do, you already know everything that's going to happen.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It can't be spoiled. It's a zombie movie. Zombies happen. Things aren't ideal, but then there are lead characters who are magically safe.
Mm-hmm. Sorry if you didn't know there were zombies.
Yeah.
For the spoiler-free section.
That's really the only twist, maybe one soft character twist that I will make fun of when we get into the spoiler-filled section.
I can't wait for that. I think I know what it is.
Right? That's how...
I haven't played the games.
But no. But like, even out of the context of the games,
okay.
That's how bad a twist it is that it's like, I guess, is kind of our reaction to the twist. So I don't think it can be spoiled for you.
No spoilies.
Okay, no spoilies. Well, that is our quick spoiler-free review. Before we get into the spoiler-filled section, we want to thank our friends over at NordVPN for sponsoring this episode.
Spoiler alert, NordVPN is great.
Spoiler alert, NordVPN will keep you safe. All right?
Love that spoiler.
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
knowing that.
We just saw a movie with a viral outbreak. If you want to prevent the digital version of that, a good way to do that is to secure your devices by using a VPN. So a VPN is going to hide your location and provide additional safety for you so that you can seem like you're coming from where you're not actually, a place where you are not. You can seem like you're coming from a different country, and it's going to help hide your location, keep your privacy, keep you safe, which is especially important if you're on any kind of like a public Wi-Fi or at an airport Wi-Fi or a coffee shop, but it's also important at home, and it's really easy to use too. It's
super easy. I go to the library just to work in a different space sometimes. I always pop on the NordVPN to be like, haha, no one here at the library will hack me. You never know.
Not gonna get me.
Not gonna get
library
me.
people.
And sometimes I just change the countries real quick to make people think I'm teleporting around the world.
Yeah.
It's real fun. And it's so easy. It's just one button press. That's why I can just play around with it and do that.
It really is quick and simple. And on top of security as well, if you are having trouble accessing, sometimes there is regionally locked content that maybe you cannot access in the country that you're in, or you can only access in a specific country. This can help you gain access sometimes to regionally locked content and get the World Wide Web and not just the Canada Wide Web or whatever country that you may be in.
This is what's so cool about Nord. People can't get into your stuff, but you can get into more stuff.
You're getting into their stuff.
You're safe, but you're also out there more.
Yeah.
It's a double down of
You're
cool
plugged
stuff.
in. You're plugged in.
You're plugged in.
And you can connect it on a bunch of devices. It's as simple as one button press. It's easy to use. We've got it set up on our Android devices, on our Apple devices, on Windows devices. So multiple different operating systems, all of which were super easy to install, and all of which now are just one click away from adding additional protection and privacy.
It's all great. If you're still not convinced, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee if NordVPN is not for you, so there's no risk, never any risk with NordVPN.
Absolutely. And grab NordVPN's Cyber Month deal. Go to nordvpn.com/TFS or use promo code TFS to get up to 73% off your NordVPN plan plus a bonus gift. So once again, that's nordvpn.com/TFS, promo code TFS. You can get up to 73% off and a bonus gift. And thank you, NordVPN, for your support.
Thank you so much, NordVPN, for your support and your security.
And now, let's get into the spoilers ahead. Now, let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk about Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City.
Raccoons.
All right, so we have seen Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. It is. It was an interesting ride for me as a video game person because there were definitely like little moments where I'm like, haha, yeah, I like that. That looks good. That's a thing that I know.
Reference.
Yeah,
Ooh,
reference.
Reference.
Yeah, but as someone who is like, I would actually say that like Resident Evil might be my biggest fandom. Like I've played every game, I've watched every of the previous movies, I've read the novels, I've read the novelization of the game.
You watched one of like the anime?
I've watched the animated movies as well. I'm all in on Resident Evil. I love the camp. I love
evil.
Even when it's bad, I am all about it. So there were a lot of mixed emotions here, but I was interested to get your perspective, someone who's a little bit more removed and a little bit more detached from what's going on.
Yeah, I'm removed but not ignorant. I've seen all the movies and I've watched you play every game you've played since we've been together.
Sure.
So I've got the base knowledge going in, and I knew who everyone was for the most part, and I knew what was going on. I'm like, yeah, that's a virus, that's a zombie, that's Jill, blah blah blah. I don't think all these people are ever supposed to be in the same room, but whatever. This is weird.
Right.
So a lot of them. I didn't actually check. Like I knew who was in the movie. And other than Claire, for some reason, I hadn't checked who was playing who. Mm-hmm. So when they started listing off their names, I was like, wait a minute, Jill and Leon are both here too? I thought this was the Claire and Chris movie.
Right.
I was like, even I know this is too many leads? What's going on, guys? Whose idea was this?
Yeah.
To be like, no characters who can die are in this film.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. So to give a brief summary, I would say that this movie is an amalgamation of the events of Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2.
Even I knew that. So
this is two video games combined.
It's the police station and the mansion.
Correct. The mansion is the first video game, and the police station, the police station is 2, and this is even somewhat Resident Evil 3, which is the destruction of Raccoon City. Okay. So this is kind of 3 video games combined into one. It's mostly 1 and 2, which is just too much. You're right. And it's just too many characters because the first video game alone, you've got all of the SWAT team, stars they're called. You've got all of those members, which is a good cast of 6 characters going in to back up other people. And then you're adding an entirely different cast to that. And they added a lot. And I actually think that these 2 plots could work together simultaneously. One team is in a creepy old mansion, and one team is in a police precinct, and all of these events are going down, and how do they meet towards the end? But you need to whittle down some of the characters, and they didn't do enough of that in the writing.
Yeah, you need to. It's wild that this movie is full of known characters, jam full of, I guess, locations more than plot, and still so slow. And nothing happens, for you to be like, this is 3 video games in one, and me to be like, but nothing happened.
And it's an hour 45.
Yeah, it's not even long.
But it feels long.
Felt long. I checked my watch a lot.
Yeah, it's 2, maybe 3. None of the events of 3 really show up in this, other than the destruction of Raccoon City. Spoilers. But it's 2 and a bit video games, and it's an hour 45, and it feels like a long time, which is a little wild.
It is a little wild, yeah. And we talked about how like it's all script problems, and it is all script problems. But to be slightly positive right off the top, Donal Logue overcame those script problems.
Oh yes,
he was incredible.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna just for a minute, we gotta be like, holy shit. He crushes it every time he does something, but like, how do you just walk in, have like 3 scenes, and be the best part of a movie full of leads?
Yeah, it's Donal Logue knows exactly how to be the realest motherfucker in a piece of genre camp. Like, he does not know how to act like anything other than a human being that exists on this planet. And I mean that as a wonderful compliment. But it's like Donal Logue is in the Blade movies, and it's like he's reading the script and getting the direction, and they're like, okay, Donald, in this scene, you're a vampire, and it's a nightclub with blood sprinklers. And Donald's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to play this how I, Donal Logue, would act as a vampire in a nightclub with blood sprinklers. Be like, oh, cool, guys, there's blood sprinklers. And it's like, yeah, that's perfect, Donald. No one else reacted like a normal human being would, and you're doing it. No matter how insane the situation, he reacts exactly like a normal human being would. And I don't know how he does it. It's brilliant.
He's the only one reacting to like things like the zombie dog and the zombies and like gunfire in a way that isn't like, oh, I'm in a cool action movie and I have to look cool about it. Like he's like shit. He's stumbling. He's dropping bullets. He's like he's like swearing in a way that feels natural, and he's also being funny, but he's being the most high stakes because he feels like he's scared of dying.
Yeah.
Like he crushes it all. This movie went so downhill when he died, very abruptly.
Absolutely.
In the orphanage.
And he's great as sweaty cop. He was good on Gotham.
Oh my God, he was great on Gotham.
Yeah.
Like Gotham was a show we only like kind of liked, but Donal Logue was always good at.
Yes. I don't think Donal Logue could play a character that's too different from himself. Because I do feel like the direction is like, whether it's like he's on Gotham and it's like, all right, Donald, at this point, the Penguin just pulled a gun on you. And Donal Logue's thought process is, well, I wouldn't like that. And he reacts like he doesn't like that because he doesn't like that. And it's there's no need for method acting because he's immediately there. I honestly think that no actor, like despite whatever method or whatever version that they might do, has ever fully been in a scene like Donal Logue, where they're like, all right, Donald, in this situation, you're next to the car, you turn, over there is a zombie dog. And Donald's like, I wouldn't like that one bit. And he just 100% commits to how he would react if he saw a zombie dog. There's no like, I'm thinking of a memory from childhood when a dog bit me. There is no actor's process. It is A to B. There is no journey along the way, and he gets there as quick as possible. And I adore it.
It is. Donal Logue has been typecast as Donal Logue for this exact reason.
Yes. Yep.
He can only play himself, but he plays himself great.
Yeah.
Donal Logue, if you were a cop and the cop who was on the front desk walked into the room and he was supposed to stay on the front desk, what would you do? I'd be like, I'd yell at him and I'd tell him an idiot.
I'd
be
hate
like,
it.
Get back on the front desk.
I'd be so mad.
Be so mad about it. I told him to stay at the front desk. And I can't do a good Donal Logue, but Donal Logue can.
Yeah. Absolutely terrific.
And it's
so
weird
you're right. A highlight of the movie, Donal Logue. 100% Donal Logue.
Highlight of the movie. And it's weird that he gets like scenes alone and then dies. Like because at first he's like just in the police station with everyone. He's the chief, and then he like runs away, and Leon's left in charge. And you're like, and at that point I'm like, okay, so Donal Logue's done. Like we have 5 leads of Resident Evil games to deal with. But then he gets the scene alone in the car under the bridge. He gets a scene alone in the parking lot with the dog attacking him. He just gets more and more development. And he's the most insignificant member of the cast in a lot of ways. I'm not complaining about this, but just structurally, it makes no sense.
The whole structure of this movie makes no sense.
The structure's god-awful.
It is obsessed with being quiet, which I think you can do in a horror movie.
Oh,
quiet
absolutely.
is scary, but you can't do it in a horror movie with 7 leads, with intricate backstories and relations between one another. You just can't do that. I will say, so we have a friend who's actually in this movie, friend of the podcast, a friend of the network, Pat Thornton, wonderful comedian, wonderful man, super talented. He plays the truck driver in this movie. He's also been in one of our sketches, our Lex Luthor presidential debate sketch. He's in that, if you want to find that on our Sketch from Superheroes YouTube channel. Pat Thornton's a delight.
He is delightful. 6 degrees of Pat Thornton over here.
Wonderful. He plays the truck driver who picks up Claire in the beginning of the movie. Him and Donal Logue as the police captain, I think, have more lines than every other character in this movie, all of whom are the heroes.
Yeah, every hero character disappears for like 30 minutes at a time, and when they reappear has about 1 line each time.
Yes.
Like, we never get any character development. Like, Chris goes away for forever. At one point, Claire's gone for a good 30 minutes. Jill hardly ever speaks.
Yeah.
Poor Jill. Hannah John Cammon's great, and this is nothing. Nothing about this character works or exists. Nothing is wrong because nothing exists.
Nothing exists
about this character.
Well, there's a couple things.
She can shoot good.
She can shoot good. There's a couple things that exist. And this is, I think, the sloppiest writing. And this is where I'm going to say, like, it's such a big part of, obviously, the structure of this movie and, like, the huge swaths of people missing doesn't work. But it does one of the worst writing things possible, which is giving wild swaths of character exposition to random unrelated characters. So our friend Pat Thornton, the truck driver, has the scene where he's driving Claire, who's completely quiet. It is basically Wolverine driving Rogue in the first X-Men movie. It is
Pat Thornton is Wolverine. We said it.
We've said it
declared it.
But Pat Thornton has to be like, where are you going? Oh, Raccoon City, the town that everyone left? Classic. It's owned by the Umbrella Corps. They're moving out of there. So who you going to see? That's right. And his exact line is, that's right. You said it earlier. Your brother. You told me how you're going to see your brother, how he works for the police station. And it's like, you can't have a character say to the lead, you can't have a tertiary character say to the lead character, oh, right, I remember the things you told me earlier about yourself. No. We need to learn this through getting to know the lead character.
We need to hear Claire speak. She's the POV lead of the leads.
Yes.
There are 5 leads, and she's the lead of leads.
Yeah.
And Pat Thornton has more lines than her.
Then we go from that to the diner. And during the diner scene, 2 cops who die off screen later come in. They're like, you're Leon. You're the guy who just got transferred into town. Oh, you're the guy who shot your partner in the butt. Not a very good cop. It's your first day. Goodbye. Then the waitress walks over and is like, that's Jill Valentine. You're barking up the wrong tree. She loves Albert Wesker. That's Albert Wesker, the big one. So don't you flirt with her, because I saw No one has said none of our lead characters have said anything at all. 2
wild points about the diner that I'll throw out there.
Uh-huh.
You're right. The random cops and the diner owner say everything, but what's wild is the other 2 leads are in the diner with Leon. Like, Claire's not speaking to another guy who's not a main, to Pat Thornton.
Uh-huh.
But Jill and Wesker could just talk to Leon.
Yeah, you have 3 options. You have 3 options.
Asleep.
Yeah.
Through his introductory scene.
And by the way, this I'm a drunk who shot my partner never comes up or has any relevance whatsoever.
No.
Leon's entire backstory, which they introduce 2 random cops to exposit, which is long and clunky, goes absolutely nowhere.
No, never comes up. It completely unrelated. It could just be his first day. That's all it needed to be.
And in the video games, that's all it is. He's just a dude who's like, whoa, first day.
Big day.
That's it.
Let me posit something to you. As a video game man, perhaps you could appreciate, though, that in a video game, an NPC does give you most of the backstory.
Not in this type of video game.
No, not in the Resident... Oh, because you have to find little clues and videotapes and shit in the Resident Evil game.
What you're describing is what happens in video games with a silent protagonist. Or like in Skyrim, where it's your character isn't really like the one expositing. Where it's like, hello, stranger, you've come to town?
Yeah,
You're the one... Yeah, that's more of a silent protagonist video game. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like all 5 of our leads are in a silent protagonist video game, and every NPC is like, oh yes, we could chat about the day if you'd like. Hit A for more chatting. Hit B for your own backstory. Hit C.
To me, what it actually feels like is it feels like a bad musical theater play written by like high schoolers or something, where it's like the stage curtains open and it's just a spotlight in front of someone at a bus stop, and they're like, me, I'm at a bus stop. This ticket, it's gonna get me to New York City. Why am I? And it's like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna say all of the things that you're just gonna exposit everything. Exposition should be for, like, the Umbrella Company is incredibly powerful. They own that factory outside of town. Like, things that are just like boring news pieces. Not who loves who, or who's whose brother, or what you studied in university, or whether you're a drunk. Like, those are character beats. Like, characters need to live those moments.
Yeah, we are literally, in the most blatant way that's ever happened, told and not shown. Yeah. Everyone's character traits and relationships and interests. It's absolutely wild.
Some people, like our friend Pat Thornton and Donal Logue, deliver the shit out of it.
Crushing it.
But they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to.
It shouldn't be on Pat.
Yes, it shouldn't be on Pat.
Donal Logue can handle it.
Shouldn't be on Donald. Yeah, it shouldn't be on either of them. Shouldn't be on either of their backs.
Too much to ask any man.
Yes, absolutely. It's too much of a burden.
To the point where, like, in that first scene with the truck when he's driving her and she hasn't spoken, I'm like, did the actress have laryngitis and they had to rewrite this so Pat had all the lines? Like, she literally doesn't speak until they hit that woman.
Yeah. Here's what's wild about when they hit the woman. This is like the first incident of zombieism that we see in the movie. Kind of. The movie's kind of all over the place. But it's the first, like, true zombie we see. And it doesn't bite anyone and legitimately scuttles off. And the first zombie bite we get is from the truck driver's dog licking up the injury of a zombie that scuttled off to turn into a zombie dog to bite the driver to crash a truck. And that is the most roundabout way. That is like a little old lady who swallowed a fly type of thing just to make a truck driver a zombie. To be like, there's a truck driver. Now, the truck driver picked up a hitchhiker. Now, the hitchhiker is also looking at the dog. The dog belongs to the truck driver. The truck driver hits the girl. The girl scuttles into the woods. The girl left blood on the scene. The dog looks up the blood. The dog turns into a zombie. The girl leaves the truck. The dog bites the truck driver. The truck driver crashes the truck. When in the video game, and the most straightforward version of this story is, the truck driver is bit by a zombie. Oops, crash. That is the most easy, straightforward story to tell.
Literally, all you had to do was have Pat Thornton check on that lady, and she bites him and runs away.
Absolutely.
That's all you need to do. Or even the dog also bites her to, like, protect his owner, and then they both get bit.
Sure.
They both got zombied.
Sure. Yep.
Together.
Love
and it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
They've both been zombified
Ride or
at
die.
the same time.
We're doing it.
I mean, that I'd like.
Yeah.
That if I'm going to get zombied and the Scar's going to get zombied, like, together or not. All for
I'm
one.
with you there.
All for one.
I'm with
one
you
for
there.
all on zombification.
Yeah, because it was upsetting when he's like, I care about this dog. Don't be sick. And the dog bites him, and I'm like, this is tragic, but not in the way the movie wants it to be.
Now it's nice that they're together.
But if he was bit and the dog bit the zombie lady, and then, like, they both turned, because when they were both zombies just driving a truck, I was like, it's actually kind of fun. I'm kind of fun for them.
What's their goals, you know? They're, like, just driving across country together still.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed for these guys.
Nothing's changed for these two. I'm kind of happy for them. They're fucking killing it.
Rooting for the dog Pat Thornton combo. I don't care what Pat Thornton's character was named.
I do love when he just walks into the precinct on fire.
Okay, another highlight, because yes, walking into the precinct on fire. I'm actually going to go to Trope Corner for a second.
Oh, lay it on me.
A trope I love, because normally Trope Corner is tropes we don't like that much.
Oh, okay.
A trope I love is the music in a set of headphones going over an action scene.
It's great. I think the music in this movie in general.
They got some expensive music.
They chose some bangers from 1998.
Yeah,
I think actually setting this in 1998 was fun, and they didn't lean into it and do it hard enough.
Oh, I think any more would have been too much.
You think any more would have
I think it was a perfect amount of 1998. Like, at no point were they like, oh, man, I hope Y2K doesn't happen or whatever else you can do, like, with it when it's 1998. Like, it was just 1998 enough. It was like, we don't have cell phones. These are the songs that were on the radio. We will reference nothing else. This is a Palm Pilots are new.
Except for that one line where Donal Logue goes off the fucking deep end with 98 references, where he's like, why don't you got your pager, page your girl, go to Blockbuster, listen to some, it was just 98, but Donal Logue, being Donal Logue, sold the living absolute shit out of it.
Someone went up to Donal Logue and they said, Donald, what would you act like if I told you it was 1998? He'd be like, well, I'd go to Blockbuster and I'd get a pager and
gun to my head, Donal Logue improvised half of those.
He absolutely
gun to my
did.
head.
The person who wrote this script didn't write these fun lines. Donal Logue wrote these fun lines. So yeah, a trope I really like, the headphones being the music and the music stopping when the headphones go away. Guardians 2 does it, like Reservoir Dogs, it's a radio, it's not headphones.
Sure.
But like it's a trope that absolutely works for me.
I'm with you. I do like integrating the music into the environment.
Yeah, it's better than just music. Like, it's part of the movie that way.
Right.
It's coming from somewhere. It's like when you see a light source and you're like, that's where the light's coming from. I see some headphones and I'm like, that's where the music's coming from.
Now, to flip Trope Corner, because I'm with you, that is a fun one, and I like it. One thing that I don't like when it's done is that the implication that those shitty foam over-the-ear headphones block any exterior sound Because Guardians does it. I've seen other movies that do it, where it's like, no, you need modern $400 noise-canceling headphones to block out the sound of a gas truck running into your building and exploding. Foam over-the-ear headphones from '98 that came with a Discman is not going to cut it.
Yeah, no. I mean, and like, how loud is he blasting that music while he sleeps if it's drowning out the sound I mean, unless you are dead drunk right now, Leon, because he also was sleeping pretty deeply at the restaurant.
That is true. Yeah, I think he's pretty drunk.
Yeah, I don't know if he's drunk or hungover. I think he's hungover maybe, or just hair of the dog in it. I don't know. Both? He doesn't act drunk in the movie.
Yeah, but I don't know what his character is at all. Like, is he depressed because he shot his partner and has been transferred to this town?
Does he not like being a cop? Did he not want to do it and his dad made him do it? Like, yeah, there is no feeling of Leon in any way, shape, or form, except that he likes Jessica Simpson and he likes to sleep. And I did have this wonderful thought though as I watched this movie of just being like, well, I'm glad he got some sleep before this all like breaks out.
You got to get a quick nap.
Because everyone else has probably been up all day, and he's like, well, I've been sleeping. I slept at the coffee shop and I slept here, so I'm rested to fight zombies. I'm like, he's gonna do great.
He
had some naps.
Just fine. I don't know why he's having naps. But
yeah, we don't. Does he? To the point where I forgot he drank that beer in his hotel room, and I'm like, does he have mono?
Right.
Does Leon have mono and everyone else has the T virus? Like, this is what's going
also
on
like he's working the 1 to 5 a.m. shift. Like, is his first day.
So it would suck.
Yeah, it's also like he could have just been a character who's sleepy because he's kind of shitty. I don't know. There's a lot of wasted stuff with his, and all of the characters are a bit wasted in the writing, but his maybe even the most so. Because there's even a moment with him and Claire where he's like, I know what you're thinking. How's this guy a cop? And I'm like, oh, you're prompting her to ask about your backstory. And for the first time in the movie, we're going to hear it from a character himself. And Claire's like, I forget what her line is, but it's basically the equivalent of like, and then we just don't need it. And I'm like, that is fair, but also like the most boring thing possible.
But also at no point would I look at the guy playing Leon and think, this guy can't be a cop. Like, he doesn't look like a cop, but I wouldn't look at him and be like, absolutely not. Like,
you're totally not a cop.
He's not like a nerd or overweight or underweight. Like, he's an in-shape man who I believe would be a cop.
Yeah, you're just a normal-looking human.
Yeah.
You could easily be a cop.
I will say, guy playing Leon, Van Jogia, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name, but you looked amazing. Your hair is incredible. Your hair is awesome. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting in this film.
Beautiful head of hair.
Beautiful head of hair. Beautiful man. I wish your character had some explorations.
Yes.
Other than naps.
Something to do.
And I love a good nap.
Everyone loves a good nap.
It's relatable in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, well, let's take a quick break in the podcast. We want to thank our other sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Batman: The Audio Adventures and share a few words about them. Bruce Wayne may appear to be a wealthy playboy, but beneath this facade, his true identity is that of the Batman, waging an endless war against crime. Join the Caped Crusader in Batman: The Audio Adventures, the first scripted original featuring Batman and his villainous rogues gallery in a world premiere story of life and death in Gotham City, debuting exclusively on HBO Max.
Starring Jeffrey Wright as Batman and a who's who of incredible Saturday Night Live alums, this rollicking adventure told across 10 episodes is written and directed by Emmy winner Dennis McNicholas, includes devilishly delightful original music by Doug Bossy, and performances by Rosario Dawson, John Leguizamo, Chris Parnell, Melissa Villaseñor, Seth Meyers, Jason Sudeikis, Brooke Shields, Fred Armisen, and many, many more. Go to hbomax.com/Batman Audio Adventures for more and stream Batman: The Audio Adventures only on HBO Max.
Thank you, Batman: The Audio Adventures, for supporting this podcast and telling us about Batman.
We love Batman.
We love Batman. We appreciate you for that. And now back to Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. Speaking of Raccoon City, I will say one thing that was frustrating, and I don't know if it was frustrating just to be like, it's always frustrating when you're a fan of the source material and it's like, you made a change. And I'm not slavish to the source material, but I'm like, you made a change that made it worse for no reason. And also it was just clunky. When it came up on the screen, exposition about what Raccoon City is, I'm like, we don't need this at all. Like, we're finding it out as the story goes along. The story tells us everything. This is very similar to, there was when we saw Eternals, and it's like, you don't need on-screen text. This is literally everything the movie tells us within the first 15 minutes.
Everything in the opening that was written on the screen, I'm pretty sure Pat said in the truck.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, Pat covered it. Don't know why we needed that.
There was no reason at all. So it was just unnecessary exposition. I don't know why it needs to be a derelict city in the middle of... the only thing I can think of is that this was filmed in Toronto during COVID, and it was just put in later to be like, this is why we don't have a lot of zombie extras. To be like, we don't have zombie hordes because we had to do massive rewrites because we were filming in the age of COVID.
I guess. I actually liked that it was a derelict city.
But here's the thing. I don't need it to be a derelict city because it's a mid-sized, like, this isn't Toronto, New York, LA. This is like, but it's not like a small podunk town. This is a mid-sized, I'm going to say trade town, similar to like a mining community. It's like there's one big company, there's one big
Keeps
job.
Keeps everything running.
Absolutely. And I'm like, this might be like Fort Mac. But this is like Fort McMurray for that was a very Canadian reference. But
we're Canadian.
We're Canadian. But it's something where I'm like, this is a mid-sized town city between 1 and 5 a.m. on a weekday. Like, if it was just the same number of things happening, it feels completely normal. We don't need all this extra exposition about how most of the people have been evacuated or left. I don't think it adds anything.
I actually kind of liked it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that added a bit to me. It gave it this, like, kind of abandoned feel, like no one is coming to help you. Like,
okay.
there's very few people left. It was real 40 Days of Night? Yeah. It was real 40 Days of Night. Like, you're on your own. There won't be anyone else here. There are only 5 cops. There's only 1 employee at the diner. Like, this town is dying. And I will admit that it lowers the stakes a little bit, knowing that the town's almost empty. When you're like, oh, they're going to blow up the town. I'm like, well, there's only like 5 people in there. So I don't really care. So it lowers the stakes in that way. But I do like the kind of isolationistness of it.
Okay.
So that actually didn't bother me very much. It didn't even feel like a COVID thing.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about it being a weird, they put it in the water thing versus traditional zombies?
I actually liked that too.
Interesting.
For a movie I didn't care for, you're really putting out things I liked. I liked that people were slowly zombifying, like having neighbors whose hair's already fallen out and who look kind of strange and abnormal already, and even people who are still smart, like the guy in the video, but you can tell that he's also been affected. Like, I really like this, like, which explains why the zombies sometimes skitter away, because they're not fully zombified yet. They're still having a little bit of humanity until they completely turn. So I actually really like this, like, you don't have to get bit, so it does just affect everyone. It's just a slow kind of zombie progression. I actually think it's kind of cool.
Interesting.
I was down with it. Like the one of the scariest moments in this movie, and it's not even all that scary a movie at any point, but like is when the mom like just writes in blood on the window, and then she starts to walk away, and then just changes her mind and jumps through the glass. Like, that's cool. Like, the progression of zombification, I think, is actually kind of neat.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
You didn't care for it?
No, I didn't care for it. It didn't do it for me, but I like that you're on board. I think that...
It also explained why the zombies already looked weird immediately. Like, they'd been changing for so long. Like, their hair's already fallen out. Okay. They got tumors.
Right. Without having a, like, massive citywide battle or type of thing. Like,
yeah,
just
it's been months and
they're
your
already
skin's
kind of
melted.
busted.
Yeah. They come pre-busted.
Right. Okay.
They're busted in.
Busted makes them feel good.
It didn't make them feel very good, actually.
Not make
busted made them feel bad.
Okay.
So no Ghostbusters here, but
interesting. Yeah. It wasn't for me. I'm glad that you liked it. Yeah, I think that there could have been something to say about that is very relevant to Resident Evil as a franchise and as a property, about how we are experimenting on this town, which they are and they always have been. And we are using police and our methods of control as a control group. We are not letting them be experimented on. We are letting the poor people that we have abandoned be experimented on. But I don't think the movie really went anywhere with something to say about that. So it just kind of felt like a little fizzle to me.
Well, the movie didn't have anything to say about anything, so that doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I actually did get that vibe. Like, it felt like A great reference about to come. It felt like an Aaron Brockovich.
Whoa!
Hear me out.
No, it is about water in a small town.
I actually think it's about power lines.
Was it about power lines?
Yeah, the power lines gave everyone cancer.
Oh, for some reason I remembered it being the water supply.
And they have to like sue all these people and be like, you gave us cancer, and like no one wants to help us, and we have to really battle to get our our health care and our rights and what we're owed, and like. And you guys hurt us, and you have to be hurt for it. And it felt very Aaron Brockovich, as most Resident Evil movies obviously do. That is the vibe I got from like the guy's tape, especially of like the water is killing us slowly.
Right. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, I got that vibe.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm glad that you were on board for that whole vibe.
That whole vibe I was down with. I'll actually have another positive while I'm here.
Lay it on me.
The guy in the video and the guy in the prison.
Yeah.
Who like
the journalist or whatever is trying to expose the Umbrella Corporation.
Ben Bertolucci. I thought he was great.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was good, but he didn't like
that one scene with not so much on the videotape, but the scene with Leon down there. He like. Shone more than anyone else in this film. Like he was like Rick Moranis-ing this movie at that moment. Not at Rick Moranis' level, but like as much as Rick Moranis like elevates
the jail scene
Ghostbuster.
was good. The jail scene was good.
Yeah, him just being like, I'm gonna take your like actual character stuff happened. He took his gun. He was like, everyone
and it
just
was another
coughs up
example
blood
of a
when they have cold. He's not a lead.
Another example of a tertiary character having all of the lines, all of the charm, all of the charisma.
All of the exposition. He knows what's happening. He knows about the water poisoning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got all the information. His performance was great. I thought he was top notch. I was sad he died so quick. Again, him and Donal Logue.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, they were the good ones. Mm-hmm. Now, another one I want to throw past you to be like, how did we feel about this? Is the turn / betrayal, and this was what I hinted at in the beginning in our spoiler-free review of Albert Wesker.
Was that a betrayal?
Thank you. Okay, Tom Hopper, Luther from the Umbrella Academy, when he's like, I was doing other stuff. Bye.
I believe his exact lines were, I was contacted by a company that wants to know what Umbrella was up to. So he hasn't been working for Umbrella.
Correct. In this version, yes. In the video games, he does work for Umbrella.
Yes, I know that much.
Yeah.
But in this version, he is a cop who does not work for Umbrella, but was paid to get information about Umbrella. And they gave a Palm Pilot full of information. So he was going to the house and he was going to find out what Umbrella was up to, which I actually think is a good thing and expose them. I think he even said, he's like, they want to expose them. And they just killed an entire town. And Jill is so mad about it. I don't understand.
But Jill is mad about it. And this is a scene now where all of their friends have turned to zombies, died, and a helicopter just crashed through the living room. Uh-huh. Jill is mad about it. And her line of dialogue when she's mad about it is, you were going to move and weren't going to tell us? That's what she has clung on to in this scenario. That he, after he did this act of corporate espionage, was going to move.
Because he'd be rich.
And he didn't like being in this poor small town.
Uh-huh.
And that was the betrayal.
That was too much for Jill Valentine.
In the video games, his betrayal is that he's one of the founders of Umbrella secretly, and he is collecting data and experimenting on the town, and he's one of the scientists, and he is setting up all of the other cops and people to get combat data for whether these would be viable biological weapons in a war zone. And like, there's so many things that are insane that go on with Albert Wesker as time passes. But in this movie, his betrayal is that he would have moved. He would have moved, and Jill didn't want him to move.
You bastard. Get the fuck out of here, Wexler. I'll never love again. He might have took you with him.
He just wanted to move.
This town is dying, literally.
Yeah. And Umbrella is killing it. Let him spy on Umbrella.
And then when she goes and finds Chris, she's like, Wexler betrayed us. He was going to leave us to die. And I'm like, I didn't get that impression what are you reading into this, Jill? How bad do you take a breakup?
At that point...
He never said that.
At that point, I felt like a scene was deleted. Because, she added additional detail that didn't... Leave us to die is different from... I was going to go into the room adjacent to the room we're in to get information on why there are zombies.
Yeah, at no point was he like didn't know it was full of zombies. He was just there for information.
He wasn't ordered to leave them to die. He was just ordered to punch in the piano code key, go into the other room, and then get some information. And that was his only job.
Yeah, if the helicopter hadn't crashed into the room, he'd probably been like, hey, Jill, you want to go down this tunnel with me? Let's go see what's going on.
Let's investigate.
And she would have been like, yeah, sure, let's check out the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been so simple. I don't know what his betrayal was supposed to be. It was a mess of a betrayal.
You laughed so hard when he died.
Oh, God. What was...
What did he say? I deserved it? Or
I
fucked up?
No, it was... Yeah, I think it was I fucked up. It was the most casual death line possible when she's like, we're going to get you up. And he goes, nah. I fucked up. And I fucked up is the funniest possible thing that you can say. Well, it was... He delivered it as if he was dying. Like, kudos to Tom Hopper. Tom Hopper gave the correct performance. But I fucked up, I fucked up, is way too casual a line of dialogue to type into a script for a death scene. And it's so funny to me.
Before this scene, Tom Hopper went up to Donal Logue. And he said, hey, Donal Logue, if you were shot and dying, what would you say?
Nah.
I fucked up.
And they're like, all right, write that in.
Tom Hopper went with it.
But Tom Hopper can't do what Donal Logue does.
He can't do what Donal Logue Don't do what Donal Logue does.
Yeah.
Even if you want to. He can't do it. So it was very funny.
No. I fucked up.
Many weird things happening with Wessler. I do appreciate, not in the moment, but looking back at the absurdity of Wexler as not...
Wesker.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Wesker in this movie. And it's very absurd looking back, but it wasn't absurd enough in the moment of him not being a villain, really. Like, not super evil. But just one by one, shooting every member of a family is very funny. Because he shot Neil McDonough. Because he pulled a gun on him and he was like, I'll shoot you. And then he got shot. And then the wife tries the exact same move.
Right.
She grabs the same gun, but 2 minminutes later.
Yeah.
But she tries to stop the bleeding.
Way too late. Yeah.
Way too late. 2 minutes later, grabs the gun.
And then he shoots her in
the head. And then
the kid's like, I've got a great idea.
3 minutes later, the kid grabs the same gun and tries the exact same move. And he is about to shoot her. He says he wasn't gonna.
He was gonna shoot her.
I don't think he was gonna shoot the mom either. Yeah. It was instinct. He
just
fucking went.
Yeah.
So he was going to shoot that kid. And it's so funny after the fact to think about how he just one-offed that whole family one by one,
Fuck.
2 minutes at a time.
And it's so funny because that situation did get away from him. Let's be real. Like, I fucked up is very sincere. Because in this property, in the video games, he is the type of guy who would be like, I went into that room to shoot both the parents and the daughter in the head and walk away with these viruses that's going to make me a lot of money. I'm complete evil. But in this scenario, he's like, a Palm Pilot told me to check out that room. Put down the gun. Blow. Ah, fuck. Ah, fuck. Don't you pick up the gun. You picked up the gun. Put down the gun. Blam. Ah, fuck. Don't you pick up the gun. You picked up the gun. Oh, I got blammed. Ah, fuck. No. I fucked up, actually.
Jill, this situation got away from me.
Completely got away from me. All right?
What a day Wesker had.
This situation got away from him.
It may have been Leon's first day, but it felt like Wesker's.
Oh, boy, it's funny. No. I fucked up. This day has gotten away from me.
Oh, it was a good moment.
Whew. I loved the ride that we went on there. Yeah.
So did Tom. And Tom Hopper shouldn't be here, by the way.
Lay it on me. Why is that? For
very petty reasons, you can't be in both the Umbrella franchises.
Right.
You can't be in the Umbrella Academy and also work for Umbrella. I expected, when he woke up in the mid-credit scene, I was like, is he going to be at the Academy? Will the other 6 little Umbrella kids be there? Or whatever their names are on the show.
Sure. Whatever their names are. Yeah, I forget.
I can't remember their names.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a very stupid, petty thing I'm having. Like, no double franchise with the same name. Or you have to hang a lantern on it. And be like, oh, what is this? Some kind of umbrella. When you get to the orphanage, what is this? Some kind of umbrella academy? Wink, wink, wink.
Wink, wink, wink. The orphanage / private school is an umbrella academy.
And there's umbrellas everywhere, and it's an orphanage.
To the point where they didn't quite hang a lantern on it, but there's a bunch of like Umbrella Corps like propaganda posters, advertisements and shit in the background of the world, which is nice set dressing and I think looks really good, and a lot of it is taken right from the video games. But there was one moment where there was like a poster for the Umbrella Corps in the background, and it's just something like, the Umbrella Corporation loves you, and it's like holding an umbrella, where it's like, or like the Umbrella Corporation is what shelters you on a rainy day. And it looks almost identical to the poster of season 1 of the Umbrella Academy, but it's not identical enough to be a wink nudge reference to it. It's just different enough that it's in that uncanny valley of like, you're not a reference, but you're upsetting how similar you are to a different thing.
It is a problem that there's only so many ways to draw an umbrella. There is the over-the-top view, which Resident Evil does.
Sure.
And then there's the side view, which the Umbrella Academy does.
Yeah.
So when Resident Evil does a side view, it feels like Umbrella Academy, but that is just one of the 2 ways to draw an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's a limited capacity of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, holy shit, Tom Hopper's a fucking brick shithouse, huh?
I actually thought, just because we've watched so much Umbrella Academy, I'm like, oh, he looks small. He's just not wearing his like gorilla ape suit that he wears on Umbrella Academy.
Right. I'm not sure he wasn't actually in this movie. He's
a big guy.
He could wreck some shit.
Oh yeah, because I remember I interviewed him for season 1. And it was one of those interviews where, like, it's live. It's, like, in person. So I'm, like, I'm coming in as someone else comes out. And as, like, we were switching interviewers, he took off his coat. And I could just see his shoulders for a second. I was like, oh, my God.
He's a big boy.
It was wild. I was like, and he put the coat back on when we started. I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
Why would you dare do that?
I would have been distracted, though. So maybe that's why. Maybe he saw my eyes. Yeah, huge, well-jacked man. But not, like, too jacked. Like, it's proportional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a good special agent kind of guy. I think he would have been a better Chris than the betrayer Albert Wesker. He should have been the hero lead, is what he kind of looks like. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I like Robbie Amell in other things, but he's bland in this. But everyone's a little bland in this. Like, no one's other than Donal Logue is crushing it. So like, I think Robbie Amell could have been good as a Chris. Like, I liked him in X-Files. I liked him as Firestorm.
I did notice that Tom Hopper's American accent is very good, and he plays it very well. I did notice his Britishness in saying Raccoon City.
Oh, okay.
Because Americans, we say, Americans, or North America and Canada, we say raccoon. Raccoon, like Raccoon City. But he always calls it raccoon.
Raccoon, yeah. Raccoon City.
Yeah, like here in Raccoon City. Like the ruh is very British, like the raccoon.
Every now and then I could hear Hannah John Cammons as well. Not too much,
really?
But just every now and then.
Okay.
No, it was very slight, but just knowing you're watching and you're like, they're both not American. This isn't gonna go well. There's gonna be slip ups, baby. I'm watching. I'm on the lookout.
Oh, keeping an eye out. To go back to like a couple of just like nitpicky things about the structure of this movie.
Oof.
There's so much stuff that doesn't come up and doesn't need to come back and like has no business being set up. Like we talked about how Leon's story goes nowhere. This whole like Claire is the lock picker and she picks locks and she never picks a lock a second time, but we wasted so much screen time on it. And it's a video game thing, but Jill's normally the lock picker.
Oh, fuck.
But like, who cares who's the lock picker if you're not going to make it plot relevant? We don't need to change who the lockpicker is and then spend 10 minutes setting up plot for it.
Chris could have just opened the door.
There's no reason for him to have not opened the door
If
either.
we don't need her to lockpick things later in the movie in like a crisis moment,
yeah,
he could have just opened that fucking door.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'm going to hammer out some other video game differences that I feel like were a worse change. In the video game, Claire rides a motorcycle. She loves motorcycles. She's a big motorcycle rider. In this movie, she doesn't have a car or a method of getting around. She
stole that motorcycle.
Yeah, Chris has a Jeep and a motorcycle, but I'm like, why can't you just make her someone who rides a motorcycle?
That doesn't bother me because she does ride one, and she has to come into town in the truck to create plot points.
Does she?
Yeah, or else Pat Thornton doesn't get lines, and we're not cutting Pat.
Pat can do it by himself.
Just him and the dog.
To him and the dog.
Actually?
And it's actually a better scene.
Oh, shit, that is a better scene.
That's a better scene, isn't it?
All right, you sold me on it. Jill just comes into town on a motorcycle.
Yeah. All the orphanage stuff.
What is any of this?
What is movie? What's the orphanage stuff?
Oh, my God. All right, I'm going to do a positive before I go crazy into the orphanage. Lisa Trevor is the creepiest thing in this movie.
Visually, they nailed how haunting that is.
Haunting. That mask with the face, but she's looking through the crack in the fabric instead. It's in like that little bit of hair coming out. Like we never
coming out of the eye of the side mask.
We never get to see her face, and I am haunted by this. Like the way they filmed it, the way it was designed. This is brilliant horror work.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to like what I was saying in my spoiler-free review, where I say that like the movie looks great. They really executed some stuff well.
Everything with Lisa Trevor looks great,
and there's no reason for any of the Lisa Trevor stuff, but it looks terrific.
Okay, she is not a video game thing?
She is only in the remake of Resident Evil 1.
Okay, so she's not like a linchpin.
She's not, but like, and this is what I'm saying though, she's only to go out of your way to be like, we've got to get this one side thing from the remake of the first video game in there. The fact that you couldn't remember the name of Wesker, and you were calling him Wezer or whatever. Weskler or whatever. But you knew Lisa Trevor.
Lisa Trevor haunts
me. I'm looking at Diana. She's not looking at her phone or the IMDb.
I just had it.
You have to look at notes for all of the lead characters, and you had Lisa Trevor. And that's a bad sign of the writing, but a good sign for how great that looked.
She looked great. Now, the point of her, fucking dumb. Like, we spend, like, 15 minutes on Claire and Lisa's little, like, back and forth, and it's creepy, but it's not anything. And then Claire escapes before they're going to experiment on her, leaves Chris there, apparently.
Apparently?
But Chris doesn't get experimented on. He gets adopted by Neil McDonough, I guess. But then at some point, before today, Claire has come back to town because this is not the first time she's seen her brother since she escaped the orphanage.
They say it's been years, but it's not been 20.
No, because she looked at a photo and said, "You're still pining after Jill." So she's met Jill. She's been in town since then. But at no point did she come to town and was like, "By the way, your adopted dad tried to experiment on me?" Like,
right.
So many unanswered
But also
questions.
Chris was not like, "You're the insane kid," like, because she would have said that, or she should have said that, and then the only way that moves forward is Chris is like, my sister is mentally unwell, sees visions, and needs to be institutionalized. As opposed to just like, what's up? How's life? Like, I haven't seen you in a little bit. Like,
yeah.
There's no middle ground for a relationship like that.
And there's no need for the orphanage. There's no need for them to have been at the orphanage. There's so much orphanage.
And why?
Why? Because we already go to the police station and the mansion. So many cool locations we can just explore and be trapped in and have zombies come through and like clues and shit.
Yeah.
And to add the orphanage.
And the orphanage adds this music piece, which becomes the theme of the movie, which is nothing and has nothing to do with anything, which is this like, it's always creepy to hear like kids sing.
Yeah,
but, like,
kids are creepy.
The orphanage introduces this like chorus of children song musical piece where it's just like la 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 la. But there's no creepy children in the movie. Like Lisa Trevor's like a little different, but as a friend, there's no reason for this to be like the big recurring song of the movie. It's not a Children of the Corn. Like there's no
it's not
chorus of terrifying children.
Yeah, we don't open up the bowels of the orphanage and all the zombies are kids. It's a bunch of kid zombies or anything. It's
right.
Lisa Trevor seems to be the only one, and she's grown up. She's actually an adult now, so not even stuck as a child. And I have to wonder, and I'm also they also keep showing all these toys, like the toys are creepy. Mm-hmm. And as an adult, I guess they are, but like I just can always think to myself, I'm like, that child doesn't think that toy's creepy. That's their toy.
Right.
Like when Claire goes into a playroom and there's a doll there with big eyes, her first thought would be, "Oh, I played with that doll. That's my doll."
I've seen that doll when room lights are on.
Like, it's a currently used toy.
Yeah.
It's not like I went into like an old
Victorian. It does
Victorian,
look creepy, but
it's not
you
like
would
I
be
went
desensitized.
I went into an old Victorian house and there was toys everywhere, and I'm like, who would play with these creepy dolls? It's like, oh no, that's Ben.
Yeah.
That's big-eyed Ben. We throw him in the sand sometimes. I've drawn on his face.
And also, can Lisa Trevor teleport? Because they do not establish any excuse for this. I get that, like, she has been experimented on and does have some kind of super strength and has not fully developed, or like speech is not fully developed for her. Mm-hmm. But she walks into a tent and then isn't in the tent. And there's no like plot point where it's like there's a hatch underneath that goes to like the secret layer. There is one cargo freight elevator that takes you down to the basement. But like at some point you've got to see her creep out of the back of the tent around, go to the weird freight elevator, put in a key, open the wall, get in the freight elevator and go down to she can't teleport, but she keeps, the second anyone looks away, Batmaning people.
She's a great disappearer. I will say she had 5 keys. So there could be hatches, there could be just doors, there could be closets.
Okay.
There could be more than just the freight elevator. She had many keys.
Right. But the other doors open quieter than the one where like large mechanisms open the wall.
The reason I would believe in teleportation is that this is what's wild to me. This orphanage, when we first enter the orphanage and they're all asleep, there's so many beds. There's a good 100 kids at this orphanage.
Most definitely.
100 kids. And only Claire has seen Lisa Trevor? Like, try to put one kid to bed.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have kids, but we have friends who have kids, and they're like, it takes like 3 hours to get a kid to go to sleep. You gotta bath them, you gotta watch TV with them, you gotta just pick them up at some point and move them. So getting 100 kids to go to sleep, half those kids are awake and saw Lisa Trevor.
Especially when Claire wakes up and is like, hello, and only her brother wakes up. Only her brother. She's talking to Lisa Trevor in an open room.
Yeah, the other kids would have woken up, or Lisa Trevor isn't actually there, or she is teleporting.
Right.
Or, yeah. So I guess she's there because she kills a monster later.
She is physically
there,
But
I would believe that she was just some psychic thing talking to her because 100 other kids didn't wake up.
Oh, yeah. Like, things that I believe exist in the Resident Evil universe. Psychic link capabilities.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Teleportation. Yes. Were either of those things set up as Lisa Trevor things?
No.
Absolutely they were not. So that was all very unnecessary, as was they go into the basement and find the film reel, and the film reel is just Easter eggs to other Resident Evil stuff from the games.
Hate that as someone who doesn't care about the games. Like, I know
as someone who cares about the games, no, I was like, fuck you, trash Easter eggs.
Yeah,
that was a shit waste of a scene.
Why isn't this footage of what you did to Lisa Trevor, or what you were going to do to Claire somehow, or what you did do to Chris maybe, and why he's not and why he's immune? Like,
and instead it was like, here's some footage from the Sega Dreamcast Resident Evil Code Veronica. And I'm like, thanks, I guess.
I mean, worth it just to know it's from the Sega Dreamcast now that you've told me that.
Right.
Now it's fun.
Now
that it's from Sega.
Now that it's from the Sega Dreamcast.
It should have played this. It didn't say sound. Sega?
If she started up the film projector and then off camera we heard the soft Sega.
It would be the soft Sega because it's a film projector. It's not edgy enough for hard Sega.
Right.
But yeah, that could have been a soft Sega.
Sega. Like, what was that?
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's the Ashford twins from Code Veronica right there. Oh.
Okay.
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know anything about Resident Evil.
Neil McDonough.
He is also great, but not in this.
Yeah.
Like, another actor I love. Like, on the CW shows as, not Malcolm Merlin, Damien Dark. Oh, adore him. Like, he is like an incredible character actor. He's nothing here.
No, and I was so excited for him here because I think he's the perfect embodiment of what the themes of this are, which is just kind of like evil corporate greed that, betrays other people. And he's played that character so many times and played it well, and it does not work here.
It does not work here. It's, I will say, not really so much his performance, but when he's half transformed, I thought he looked incredible. when like the eyes were popping out on his arm. There was one particular big pop of an eye that was really gross and really good. I like that he was constantly changing as he was trying to find Chris. That was one of the better effects that I really, really liked and thought looked really good.
That's from the games, and it does look very good. They execute it well. I could do without a full soliloquy from him in monster mode, but it did look really good.
I mean, they got rid of it once he like fully monster. When you still have a face and a mouth, you can soliloquy a little bit.
Gotcha.
So I was fine with it. So I thought that was great. But yeah, it's almost impressive to get such nothing performances out of so many actors I like.
Yeah, so many fun, good people who can do better than this, but they were given the fewest lines in the whole movie.
Yeah,
so what are they supposed to do with it?
It's crazy when you point that out. Yeah, all the tertiary characters had all the lines.
Had all the lines that set up who these characters were, and then these characters never progressed beyond that. Like this setup that Leon in the diner, that it's like Leon gave googly eyes and has a crush on Jill. It's like, okay, where did we go with that? They never had a scene together again.
No.
So we didn't go anywhere with it. There was a
line about how Chris also was into Jill, and they never
went anywhere with that. And then this whole like Jill only has eyes for Wesker. And that also didn't go anywhere or get brought up again. So like all of this good dialogue that was given to random characters that set things up are also then never even paid off by the main characters. But yeah, I thought the movie looked good. I thought there were some visuals that looked really nice that maybe weren't for you, but I will take a little bit of joy from that. I agree with you that the monster from Neil McDonough from the scientist Birkin at the end, that looked really good. And the secondary characters are a lot of fun.
The secondary characters work, yeah. Stop killing them.
Donal Logue. You're a champion.
Logue. Fuck. Yep. You're great, man. You were great on What We Do in the Shadows, by the way, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Come to Toronto more often, man.
Come to Toronto more often.
Film all your stuff here.
Please. Yeah. And listeners, if you don't watch What We Do in the Shadows, first of all, watch it. It's great. And second of all, towards the end of season 3, Donal Logue is there and is wonderful. An absolute delight.
Absolutely wonderful. Just like our podcast.
Yep. And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we discussed, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do ask that final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, if you haven't already, just take like 2 minutes out of your day, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. You click a couple buttons. You can say one word. You can just say Noise, or you can be as wordy as you want. You can type a longer review if you want. But it's a free way to support the podcast. I know every podcast tells you to do this, but it helps us move up the charts, find new listeners, and it's super important.
It's so important. And guys, the holidays are coming. We want reviews.
Yes.
Our Santa list for Christmas.
For Christmas. For the holidays.
For whatever you celebrate.
For whatever you celebrate, you give that to us.
No matter what you're doing.
We celebrate reviews in this household.
We celebrate Review Christmas. Reviewmas.
Reviewmas.
I'm naming it right now. Reviewmas. We want reviews, and that's it. And we'll be happy as a little clam.
Yep.
We'll be warm in our hearts. It'll be great.
Love it.
So whatever you want to get us for our holidays, we'll take reviews. Or we'll take what Andrew's about to say about Patreon.com.
Absolutely. That's a free way to support the podcast, just by subscribing, hitting review, leaving a rating. If you want to support the podcast monetarily, you can do it on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe to the content creators you know and love like us and get cool bonuses for doing it. You can kick in whatever you can afford, $1 a month, $5, $10, $20, whatever you have going on in your budget. You can always cancel or change it at any time, so you're not locked in. There's no pressures, no worries. If your finances change next month, don't worry about it. You can cancel, you can lower. If you got extra money next month, you can also up it too. Like, whatever.
So many options.
Do what you want to do. But if you do want to do it, you can become a $10 hero level patron and then get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month, as well as immediate access to the back catalog of all of our bonus Patreon episodes. So for as little as $10, you've got a bunch of episodes sitting there waiting for you, and also we're going to be dropping a new one every single month for you.
Yeah, it's a full-length episode about something we don't cover on the regular podcast. This month, it was Ghostbusters 2. In the past, we have done 2 of the 6 other Resident Evils. So if you're a completionist...
There's more Resident Evil in there.
If you're a completionist, you're going to need those Patreon episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's also 4 public ones, though, so you're good.
Hey, there's a lot going on.
There's stuff for everybody.
But there's like 70 Patreon bonus episodes at this point.
We've talked about a lot of things.
There is. So check it out. You can head on over to patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. Head there. If it's in the budget, have a look. check it out. And to all of our new and to all of our returning patrons, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, patrons.
And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
A lot of my changes are about Claire.
Oh, okay. Lay it on me.
So Claire is kind of going to add some more urgency into this movie and a little bit more information. So she has left Raccoon City, but she's not just out there in chat rooms. She has actually infiltrated Umbrella and has seen that there's zombifications happening and is coming to town to tell Chris with absolute proof and absolute certainty. So she wants to get him out of there. Like, she knows this is going to happen. She's seen it with her eyes. So she's going to add this urgency. She's going to go straight to the police station. We're not going to separate. We're not going to have everyone in these different rooms for all this time. And she's going to teach them how to kill zombies and tell them what zombies are. I don't know if you've noticed this. No one in this movie gets good at killing zombies or says what zombies are or does anything.
Like says shoot them in the head or
yeah. So she's gonna give like a tutorial. She's gonna actually like we're gonna figure out how to kill zombies. We're gonna go on zombie killing sprees. And like there's not other than like making the characters have characteristics, there's not much else this movie needs. Like, it's structurally weird, but the weirdness is that the tertiary characters say everything and that the pacing's really slow. So I want her to know that they're going to bomb the city. I want her to bring some urgency in. And I'm going to add a little thing, which is kind of like we save the day, but we don't. She's going to have a antidote to the zombiness that you're going to throw in the water. And that will just keep more zombies from being made, but it won't cure anyone who's already been zombified. So you've kind of stopped, and like it won't spread to other cities who are using the same water or anything. So you kind of stop the global zombification, but you still got to deal with the whole city full of zombies is my change. So you kind of save the day, but you're still like surrounded by zombies, and you got to get out. So yeah, it's going to be more Claire is more driven, has more information, has more strength and a little bit more urgency because everyone's just kind of wandering around for this movie. So that's my big change. Andrew, what about you?
I'm with you on that. I could get on board for that as a version to do it. My main thing is that they need a reason to survive, which literally none of them have. At no point does it become plot relevant that, like, we need to expose the Umbrella Corporation and what they've done here. At no point is that Claire, maybe, kind of, but I think it's more like I gotta get my brother and fuck these people, fuck Umbrella, and not a like we're gonna take them down globally and I've got to get a USB drive of evidence or something like that. So at one point, you know, Chris and the kid Shirley, and Jill are in a room with virus samples. They're in the lab where it was all created. And at no point do they get a sample or a cure. So I can get on board with yours, like Claire's going to get a cure and toss it in the lake or whatever. But they just need something. And I'm cool with any version of A, get a cure. B, get a sample of the virus so that a cure can be made so that Umbrella can never do this again. Or C, we need to gather evidence that Umbrella has been experimenting on people and tell the world to stop Umbrella. But they're all trying to survive, which is a very real moment-to-moment thing, but no one has any bigger goal at any point in any of this movie.
I would say I would even accept if they were trying to survive a little harder. Because they don't even get, like, until it's like the last 15 minutes when they find out the city's going to get bombed and they got to get out of there. Like, there's never even, like, this is just a survival zombie movie. It doesn't even feel like that. It just feels like wandering around.
It feels like they just got used to the idea of zombies 1 minute before the end of the movie.
So, but I like what you said that none of them have anything they're trying to live for either. Like, none of them have families. None of them have loved ones. In the last 10 minutes, the little girl needs to be saved. And that's actually the only time that I felt like there was, like, a purpose for any of them fighting.
Right.
To like, they're like, I don't even like kids in movies, but I'm like, oh, I get what you're fighting for now. You're trying to save this little girl at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, any kind of purpose like that would be absolutely great. And would give a ticking clock as well. A
ticking clock and a reason for them to kind of come together. Like, I think that one of the things I enjoy most about the games is this conflux of parallel storylines and how they come together in the games. Like Resident Evil 2, not everything's on the forefront of my mind, so I'm trying to remember. Like the child, Shelley. Sure, I'm gonna call her Shirley. Whatever.
Call me Shirley.
Call me Shirley. So I'm gonna say like the child is found by Claire. And Claire's like, let's find your dad. Sherry is found by Claire. And Claire's like, let's find your dad. And Claire only finds this horrible monster. And it's like, oh shit, that's your dad. But Leon doesn't find Sherry. But Leon never meets Sherry in his storyline. He meets a crazy scientist who injects himself. So it is this but they all end up in the same place. One is Leon trying to kill a mad scientist, and another is trying to get Shelley to her dad. So it is this conflux of events, and I think you could have that if it is Chris and Jill in the mansion, and they are police officers who are trying to find evidence of a crime that Umbrella has, or they're trying to find a cure to save someone. Then we have Claire and Leon who are trying to find evidence of a crime, and it both leads them down this underground tunnel to the same lab, and they both have two different goals together. I think that can work.
I think that can work. That'd be really fun. And you can just use radios to kind of intercut the stories. Claire and Chris both aren't keeping in touch with each other for whatever reason because they're brother and sister. Yeah, some stakes, some goals. You got yourself a movie.
That's all a movie needs. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. I think we improved Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, this is the lowest I've rated a movie in a bit, so I feel a little sad about that.
Yeah, you want to like it. We all want to like things.
I want to like the movie.
Yeah, who don't? Well, that's going to be it for this week for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. We are going to be back next week. Next week on the podcast, we are revving up to the release of the new Matrix film, Matrix Resurrections.
Shit.
And next week on the podcast, we were talking about the original, The Matrix.
What a couple weeks of Andrew's favorites.
We're going to have I really like the Matrix movies, and I'm heavy into Resident Evil, even though I was medium to poor on this one.
Big month for Andrew.
Hot time for Andrew, though. So we're going to be talking about The Matrix next week on the podcast. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on Twitter at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.